What is going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday night to you all. What's popping, everyone? I understand. Listen, it's kind of weird, right? Like, yeah, we're doing a sad on a Wednesday night. Normally, this show goes down every single Thursday afternoon around 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. time. You kind of get the gist of it, right? But we decided, well, more than anything, me, let's put it that way, or us, but you get the idea, right? There's a lot of things going on tomorrow that, you know what, we might as well do sad today. This is a special Wednesday night edition of sad, something about Dynamite. Here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel.
Perfect.
It is Wednesday, August the 21st, 2024. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Share through social media with all your friends out there and all that fun stuff. As always, I'm Steve. And yes, I'm doing the solo today, doing a solo. Now, I did say moments ago, there's a reason why we are doing this. Well, in particular, this review on a Wednesday night at this hour, because tomorrow we will be doing preview for All In. And the reality is this too. I am off from work this whole week since I did my procedure last Friday with my wisdom teeth being removed and all that stuff. And I took the week off from work to recover and all that stuff. And I got this time to do more content and all that stuff. And again, I decided to take liberties here. And you know what? Let's do sad today after the show. But tomorrow, don't have no fear. Tomorrow, there will be a show. Tomorrow, around 6 p.m. time, 6:30 p.m. time. I'll let you know on Twitter at Heel Steven. There will be the preview for AEW All In. The preview goes down tomorrow here on the channel. All right. So if you have not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video once again a big old thumbs up. But more importantly, hit the bell notification so you will be notified whenever the Around the Point Network goes live. You can follow the Around the Point Network over on X at HC Point Network. If you want to become an ATP channel member, it's only $2.99 a month. You can hit the join button down below, or if not, if you are on a mobile device and you don't happen to see the join button, it's okay. There is a link down below in the description box on the YouTube feed, that is, right? On Twitch, nothing I can do there. But on the YouTube feed, if you're on a mobile device, you'll see a link that can direct you to becoming a channel member. It's only $2.99 a month. You get all these perks that you see on the screen. You get priority reply to comments. We are doing ATP gaming as well. And if you have a created wrestler, you can be part of the roster. You get to join us for the throwback watch along. And for once in a while, we will do special members only streams where you can join us. And again, all that only $2.99 a month. All right, hit the join button, all that fun stuff. But let's get into Dynamite, man. Man, I got to be honest with you. Going into the show, my expectations for All In really wasn't there. I'm like, it's a show to watch on Sunday. I know I am, obviously, right? I will probably be joining Romeo on the True Heel Heat watch party for All In on Sunday. That is the plan. Again, I haven't been invited, but I'm pretty sure I will be 9 times out of 10. And then do the review on Monday on Steve's Kitchen. But I'm like, going into the show, But I will say, AEW tonight, I almost said last night, it's a habit. They actually delivered tonight. Granted, they were in Cardiff, Wales. They were in the UK, right? They were at the Utilia Arena, Utiltia Arena. I probably butchered the name. I apologize. They were there in the UK, in Cardiff, Wales, and the crowd was electric. Granted, it was pre-taped. We got the tape version, but nevertheless, the crowd was electric. Granted, no matter what promotion goes to the UK, whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW or TNA. TNA back in the day used to go to the UK and run these shows and have this electric crowd with these soccer chants and all that stuff. You're always going to get that, right? It shows you that that being the UK audience, puts us, the Americans, to shame. There's just no way around it. It is what it is. You learn to accept it, especially when they come over for WrestleMania and you go to Raw, you go to SmackDown or whatever it may be, and you see the UK audience there and they do their soccer chants and their olays and all that stuff. And they just put us to shame. Simple as that. And they brought it tonight. They did. And but more importantly, I left watching the show. I'm like, you know what? I look forward to Sunday. They actually got me excited for Sunday. I will say that right now. With what they delivered tonight, between that back and forth between MJF and Will Ospreay, which is a match I was looking forward to seeing as it was. But then my interest has got a little bit more interesting because the thing is, can MJF finally pull that? Can Will Ospreay finally pull the trigger and hit the Tiger Driver? Right? We had Brian later on in the night telling him to do it. Damn it, do it! No more fucking around. Hell, they even got me a little bit excited for Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker. They actually did. I will say that. That's kind of crazy to think because honestly, that feud has been like dead in the water for weeks. And they actually got me somewhat excited for it, somewhat excited. And of course, the most anticipated match of the weekend, Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. The final countdown, right? The last match of Bryan Danielson. That's the word going around the water cooler, right? Will Bryan actually retire or will Bryan walk out as champion, right? All that stuff. And of course, we did get that dream match between Kazuchika Okada defending the Continental Championship versus Claudio Castagnoli. That went to a draw, which we'll get into as well and all that fun stuff. But again, let me know in the chat, what did you like? What did you not like on the show and all that fun stuff as well? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado,
let's fucking go.
Yeah, that's right. Let's fucking go, y'all. So the show opened up, man. The show opened up with the contract signing between Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné, the contract signing for this match. And overall, the crowd seemed into this for what it was. Mercedes literally went on to say to Britt Baker that once she makes her tap out, right, she will prove that Britt Baker is the past and Mercedes is the now, the future. And from which Britt Baker went on to say in reference that last year Moné was in crutches in the stands watching the show, right? She also referenced the fact that, back in the day, Mercedes was someone that a lot of women looked up to, especially Britt Baker, a role model. And now she's just in it for the money. A lot has changed in Mercedes Moné. Also factor in Mercedes Moné, took a little dig on the fact that Britt Baker, decided to have a backup plan as a career. As we all know, Britt Baker is not only a wrestler, but she's also a dentist. And Mercedes went on to say, she didn't have a plan B this whole time, right? And it also factoring in about being all in. This is what Mercedes had to say, and quote, "I've been all in since I was 10 years old. I've been putting women's wrestling on the map. That is all in." That is what, in her eyes, in her opinion, is all in. And they both signed the contract for what it is. And, Britt Baker went on to say that, hey, she's going to beat Mercedes. She's going to become TNT champion. And she knows that she can't put her hands on Mercedes Moné. She cannot put her hands on her. But she puts her hands on Camille. Hits her with the microphone. There's a little brawl. Got people sort of excited. But honestly, I felt like this feud needed this segment. Now, mind you, let me just say this as well. I hate contract signings. I do. I think they are stupid. I don't give a fuck what promotion it is, whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW, TNA, New Japan, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Contract signings are stupid as shit. You mean to tell me we're doing a contract signing for a match that's already been advertised for weeks on end? Then what the fuck is the point? Can you imagine? I'm going to give you this scenario. Can you imagine, right, if Israel Adesanya and Drake Duplessis, right, they fought last Saturday, UFC 305. Can you imagine, right, if we're hyping up this fight, it's a big fight happening, right, in Australia, right, is Israel Adesanya, the last style bender versus Drake Duplessis for the UFC middleweight title, right, all the back and forth, the verbal back and forth, all this stuff, right, and the week of the fight, we do a contract signing? Then what's the point of fucking training and putting in the time and all that shit? Like, it's stupid. It's so fucking dumb. However, this segment got me excited for the match. Still hate contract signings, though. Still hate them. Just pointing that out. It is what it is. All right? But that was your opening segment. Again, it got people sort of, into the match and all that stuff. And from there, we got the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho versus Tommy Billington. Tommy Billington, a.k.a. the Dynamite Kid Jr. Here's the thing. I really was not into this. I'm sure some people were. I know Tommy Billington Jr. Tommy Billington or the Dynamite Kid Jr., right, was wrestling on Collision these last couple of weeks, right? And I know he signed to a deal with AEW, right, or something like that, like an appearance deal, because I have not seen the graphic. Until they post a graphic up, I don't know if it's legit or not, but I even know Dax Harwood went on to say that, there were talks that WWE even reached out to sign him. I don't know the legitimacy of that, but be that as it may, I thought this match, honestly, was just to, get this kid out there in Europe, right, to get a reaction, and kind of did. And don't get me wrong, like, he did some of Dynamite Kid's moves, the suplexes and all that stuff. Got a reaction out of it. It felt like a mismatch too when you look at just the difference in body appearances, right? Like, Jericho looks twice the size of Dynamite Kid Jr. I'm gonna just call him Dynamite Kid Jr. because Tommy Billington just seems like, it is what it is. When it was all said and done, though, Jericho got the win. There's no question about it. Jericho got the win. After the match, Jericho decides to call out Hook. He referenced the fact that, Hook isn't even in Cardiff. Yeah, right. He showed up in Cardiff. And Hook got to the ring. Jericho called him a bastard. And what do you know? They get the upper hand. That being the Learning Tree, Jericho, Big Bill and Brian Keith. They get the upper hand on Hook going into the match on Sunday at All In. So that tells me, in a way, who's going to win and all that stuff. And yeah, again, the match itself, honestly, nothing really to get into. Just the fact that, hey, they brought him out there because it's Europe and it's going to get a reaction. But outside of that, it was what it was, So after that, we did get Timeless Toni Storm versus Saraya for the AEW Women's Championship. I like the fact that there was a flow of just wrestling matches on the show tonight. I like that too. And you got to reference the fact that, there's talks that Saraya's deal might be coming to an end soon. There's discussions of her renewing a new deal or something like that. Factor into, hey, they are in Europe. They're in the UK, even though it's Cardiff, right? We got to just showcase Saraya here, right? Get her a match here against Toni Storm for the women's title. And the match overall, again, the crowd just seemed quiet for this, which you would have thought, okay, listen, it's Saraya, it's Europe, right? Tony Storm spent time in Europe over the years and in the UK independent scene as well, you would have thought this crowd would have been hot for this. And it just seemed quiet. I know Tony Storm hit some world of sports moves on Saraya. What else will happen here? Harley Cameron got involved too, but to no avail because what do you know? Tony Storm locked the lips, kissed both Harley Cameron and Saraya, and then for the Storm, and then for the Storm Zero, right? That's the name of her move here. Yeah, Storm Zero for the win. So Tony Storm retains her title, but after the match, Mariah May comes out and lays out Tony Storm. So you want to give the challenger a little upper hand going into the championship match. It should be a fine match for what it was, but for what it is on Sunday. But again, we're just showcasing Saraya because, hey, listen, she's now booked for a match on Sunday in Wembley, in her country. But let's bring her out to Wales because why the fuck not? So there's that. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if she's going to get re-signed or not. She might not. So we'll see. After this, we did get one of the big segments of the night. Will Ospreay segment with MJF. They brought out Will Ospreay, and you can imagine, right? The crowd is into this, right? Ospreay. It's Europe, bro. So they're gonna eat this up. They're gonna go crazy for this, right? And as soon as Ospreay's about to speak, MJF showed up, and they both again proceed to have this amazing back and forth exchange on the microphone. Ospreay talks about how all over the world people call him the best in the world, the best wrestler in the world, right? What's going on, Safed? Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday night. Yeah, this is kind of weird. I'm doing this on a Wednesday. I explained earlier, I don't know if you just tuned in or not, but I did explain that we're doing this today on a Wednesday because tomorrow, same time we would have done S.A.D, tomorrow it'll be the preview for All In. That's why we're doing this now. And also factor in, I'm off for a week from work. So there's that. But yeah, MJF was told by Ospreay, no matter where Ospreay goes, whether it's in Cardiff or in England, the best wrestler in the world is Will Ospreay. Whether you go to Australia or New Zealand, the best wrestler in the world is Will Ospreay. Whether you go to Japan and Ospreay said this in Japanese, the people say the best or the Ichiban pro wrestler is Will Ospreay, right? And then obviously MJF kind of cooked him on the mic, talked about how, the reason why he came back from injury as soon as he did, because Tony Khan and the people in Warner Bros. Discovery were begging him to come back to clean up the mess. And let's face it, while MJF was gone, AEW Dynamite, the show was kind of in the mud. You can be the biggest diehard all you want, but you cannot deny, bro, when he was gone, bro, the show was in the mud. Bottom line. And then Ospreay rebutted back, how Tony Khan called him to come in, not even under contract a year ago, because he just knew that, again, he is the feeling. You're talked about restoring the feeling, all that stuff. Will Ospreay is the feeling. To which MJF rebutted back with, facts mean more than feeling, right? Facts beats the feeling, whatever the fuck that meant. And then MJF got a little personal because he had to, right? Couldn't help himself. And then keep in mind, MJF went out there, bro. America as it is, bro. Look at that. America as it is. America, right? He talked about, the fact that everything was going good, right? That they loved him. They loved MJF. Until that being Will Ospreay, showed up and ruined it. Basically, the love that MJF was getting from the people, right? All the love and all that stuff. He had it. And then Ospreay showed up and took away all the momentum. All those fans went over to the Will Ospreay side of the tracks. MJF went also to say, who's really says you're the best wrestler in the world? And for a second there, I thought he was going to say Dave Meltzer. and star ratings. I thought for a second he was going to go there, but he didn't. And then again, MJF got a little personal. He referenced the fact that, hey, Will Ospreay is a married man. Will Ospreay has a kid, even though technically it's not really biologically his kid, but he's the guy who stepped up. And he said that, I had a word with your wife, and quite possibly the next child that she has may not even be his either, that being Will Ospreay's. And keep in mind, they could not touch each other because there would have been a fine. To which then Will Ospreay asked Tony Schiavone to ask Tony Khan. I'm pretty sure, as we all know, Tony Khan is in the ear of Tony Schiavone. How much is the fine? And basically, if you want to round it up to U.S. currency, it's like $100,000. To which then Ospreay's like, well worth it, and they brawl. They go at it. And then MJF lays him out with the diamond ring. But also, I didn't mention this, but MJF also said to Will Ospreay that that being Will, is afraid to pull the trigger and hit the Tiger Driver 91. So we'll see. Safet writes here, the Will Ospreay MJF segment was really good, and it really, really was good. By the way, Dynamite is going head to head against the day 3 of the Democratic National Convention. Yeah, likely, and you got to also factor in a lot of AEW fans are Democrats, so likely. I don't want to know the rating, but I thought the show was pretty good. So I will say that. All right, but nonetheless, this segment, dude, was just fucking awesome. It really was. It got you excited because now what it does, it really wants you to see MJF walk into Wembley Stadium a year ago, loved by everyone, right? The kangaroo kick, the brochachos and shit. Now he's out there. America's up, bro. America. Are you going to walk into a massive booze in Wembley? Bottom line. And it's Will Ospreay's duty to pick himself up and beat the holy hell out of MJF. That's what people will say, right? That's the vibe you get from this. And also factor in, will MJF finally pull the trigger? Will he finally hit that Tiger Driver 91? I think it will. And when it happens, you're going to get this big pop-up. I'll get into all that tomorrow in the preview. Again, tomorrow we will be previewing All In here on the channel. But I love this segment between MJF and Will Ospreay. Loved it. We got backstage. We saw Heyman Adam Page, who was requested to leave. But he also mentioned before he left that he is officially entering the Casino Gauntlet match happening this Sunday at All In. And he talks about how no one's going to stop him. He's going to go through everybody. And who happens to be in the way? Evil Uno, his old longtime friend. He asked him, hey, is you in the match? And Evil Uno was like, yeah, I am. And of course, Hangman Adam Page lays him out. He kind of gives you an idea of who's going to win, considering what they might want to do 2 weeks from now in Chicago. But we'll see. We'll get there when we get there. We'll see how things play out on Sunday. From there, we got the dream match from a lot of people were saying for so long. Claudio Castagnoli versus Kazuchika Okada for the Continental Championship. Listen, if you would have told me a couple of years ago, hey, yo, we're going to get Cesaro. Because back then he was Cesaro, so don't get mad at me for, why are you calling him that slave name, man? What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Just saying it like it is. If you would have told me a while back, we're going to get Cesaro versus Okada in front of a hot crowd, I would have not believed you. Hell no. But it did. I thought the match itself, everything lived up to the hype. These two guys went out there and just tore the house down. And you forget this, you're so into the match that you forget that the Continental Championship match has a 20-minute time limit. I totally forgot about it. I don't know about many of you, but I totally forgot. Man, this has a 20-minute time limit. And it really hit you when Bobby Cruz, who's the ring announcer, because I guess the other guy, Justin Roberts, couldn't be there, right? But you hear Bobby Cruz say 1 minute left. And I'm like, what? No way. No fucking way. And you see Claudio just trying to find his way to hit something on Okada to win this title. Like he's fighting for his life here, right? And again, these two guys would just beat the fuck out of each other, right? Drop kicks, the lariats, and all that stuff, right? But eventually it went to a 20-minute draw. Time limit expired. The crowd was not having it. They were chanting 5 more minutes. The Young Bucks come out because they had the match after, right? And they were teasing, hey, do you guys want to see 5 more minutes? Because after all, they are EVPs. Do y'all want to see 5 more minutes? Do y'all really want to see 5 more minutes? And they're like, nah, not tonight, because they have a match and all that stuff. And it looked like they were about to physically remove Claudio from the ring. But then help came. And Darby Allin and FTR, and we got their match. We had FTR and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks and the Scapegoat, Jack Perry, trios match. I'll be honest with you. I thought this match was solid. To be honest with you, nothing really to go crazy here. You just got to remember that Darby and obviously Jack Perry have a match on Sunday in a coffin match. And then you have the Bucks with FTR and the Acclaimed in a trio, in a triple threat for the tag title. So get them out there, hype up their match, what have you. But obviously, when it was all said and done, Darby picked up the win for his team. He pinned, I believe it was Nick Jackson who got pinned. And after the match, you know, the Acclaimed show up and they start rapping, right, how they're gonna win and all that stuff. And again, you know, they called themselves, you know, obviously Max Caster called himself the best wrestler alive, and Anthony Bowen is the scissor god and all that stuff. And, you know, the crowd seemed into this. To me, it's like, all right, man, you hear Max Caster rap once, you hear them so many times already. It is what it is, right? But I just thought, yeah, this was fine for what it was. We then go backstage. We go backstage. We see Will Ospreay. He's bloodied up, right? He's bloodied up from what happened. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this, but I got to mention this now. There's a lot of you who probably thought that, oh my God, we're going to get Claudio and Okada maybe at All In because they don't have a match, right? Wrong. Because at Collision this Saturday is going to be a wild card and Cardiff Trios match between Top Flight and Leo Rush versus the team of Pac, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio. And the winner gets added to the Trios ladder match at All In. So you kind of already know who's going to win this one. Yeah, it's going to be Claudio, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta, because you got to get Pac on the Wembley show. He's from the UK. You want him to get his moment. 9 times out of 10, Pac will do some crazy move off the top of the ladder in Wembley, and the crowd will go crazy for it. So there's that. But we see Will Ospreay bloodied up backstage, recovering from the blood, from the attack from MJF. And Renee asks him, how's he feeling? What's his status? And before he even answers, Bryan Danielson jumps into the frame. And he just flat out tells Ospreay, listen, do it. The same move that Will Ospreay did to Bryan Danielson that left him, you know, hurt, right? And all that stuff, that Tiger Driver, do it on Sunday. Basically telling him, don't feel bad no more. Don't feel bad. Let it out. Do the move. Win on Sunday. And then we get the final segment of the show. We get Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland facing off one final time. And the advertisers with Nigel McGuinness like hosting this, right? And I'll be honest, I look forward to the match on Sunday. But I got to be honest with a lot of you guys. And I don't know how y'all may feel about this, but I felt kind of let down because I was expecting more. Like I was expecting there to be something there with Nigel and Brian. Like Nigel, like you know, just poking fun at Brian once Brian's in the ring, right? Heckling him and shit. I was expecting that. I know Nigel called Brian the neck break kid, Brian Danielson, or fragile Brian and shit like that. But I was expecting more. I was expecting more from that portion. Obviously, Swerve got in the ring. Nigel put him over, right? And then Swerve went on to say that he felt disrespected by Brian because Brian has been doing interviews, hyping up the match. And what he's been saying is, he's ready. That being Brian Danielson is ready for retirement. He's ready. Not realizing, again, y'all must forgot that this Sunday is Brian versus Swerve, career versus title. So if you're Swerve Strickland, you feel some type of way because Brian is taking that away from you. He wants to be the one who retires Brian Danielson, right? If we're going by the story here. But then you're going to tell the media that you're ready for retirement? Like, what the fuck is this? What are we doing? And he tells, everyone that, hey, Brian, I know that you might have the itch after. You might get the itch, right? To come out of retirement. And being that they're both from, Washington State, there is that promotion, Defy Wrestling. And if Brian wants to, wrestle on some indie show in Seattle, Swerve will be there to stop it. If Brian wants to go over to if Brian wants to go over to Arena Mexico and wrestle under a mask, Swerve will be there in the parking lot waiting so it doesn't happen. And so on and so forth. Like if you go to Japan, same thing, all that stuff, right? Swerve wants to make sure this is it for Brian. And then Brian comes out. And also factor in Brian, Swerve mentions, Brian's his kid and all that stuff. And Brian comes out and he literally runs to the ring, lays out Swerve with the running knee, right? With the Busaiku knee. And the crowd goes crazy for this, right? And Brian gets on the mic, talks about for so long, people have been giving me this title, the best wrestler in the world. So you hear MJF, you hear Will Ospreay say it earlier. Now you hear Brian Daniels. Now you hear Brian say it, right? Too many people calling themselves the best wrestler in the world, right? Be that as it may, Brian went down to say, listen, there's one thing that's for certain, right? Does he think that he's going to beat Swerve on Sunday, win the title? And the crowd starts chanting yes, and Brian does the yes thing, and the crowd goes crazy. And that's how you close Dynamite. Again, this Sunday, you have the most anticipated match of the weekend between Swerve Strickland versus Brian Danielson for the AEW World title, also Brian's career. Brian's career is on the line here. This might be the last time we see Brian Danielson. Arguably the greatest pro wrestler. We're talking work rate that America has to offer. Hands down. Hands fucking down. Some will say the world. I will say, just to be on the safe side, the U.S. And I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing what's going to happen. Right? It still feels crazy, just the magnitude of this match, right? But it's going to be crazy. I cannot wait. Overall, I thought Dynamite, AEW did a good job getting people to look forward to All In on Sunday with this show. Granted, it could be the fact that they're in Europe, the first time they're out there for a Dynamite in Europe, in Cardiff. So that crowd, once again, we're going to eat this up. And it went crazy. And once again, they show you that crowd, that audience, puts us, the U.S., to shame. Hands fucking down. I give this show an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. I don't know what the rating is going to be. But if I'm I would say 735,000. but we'll see. All right. But in case you guys don't know, tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, we will be live here on the channel for the preview to All In, 6:30 p.m. But then again, we'll keep you posted on the time because that may change. So just make sure you follow us on Twitter at AT.Network. We'll let you know the exact time of the preview tomorrow. Safet writes here, 8 out of 10. Thank you, Safet. MJF will get the largest booze in Wembley at All In. I do agree with that 100%. But in case you have not yet checked that, we've been active on the channel. On Tuesday, myself and Chase did a Raw rundown. And then on Monday, I did a Steve's Kitchen. It was a short one, but it was done. But make sure you tune in tomorrow for the preview to All In. Tomorrow, I'm trying to get the whole gang in tomorrow. So we might do it later on, but we'll keep you posted. But this was, again, a special Wednesday night edition of Something About Dynamite, S.A.D, here on the Around the Point Network. All right. Wanted to get this done, being that I have time on my hands here and all that stuff. And yeah, again, follow us on Twitter, the Around the Point Network on Twitter at AT.Network. Follow me on X at Heel Steven. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Share to social media. You know, all that fun stuff. Follow the secondary channel, ATP Clips, where we post clips from some of the crazy and funny shit we have said on ATP throughout the years. And so our next ATP Gaming PLE, ATP All in the Mud 2, will be happening soon. More details on that. It'll be a 2-night event. I'll tell you that right now. All right. But that's gonna be it for me. For myself, for the gang. This has been Something About Dynamite, aka S.A.D, on a Wednesday. We're out, everybody. Peace out. Peace out, Safet. Peace out, gang. See you tomorrow for the preview to All In London here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel.
Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.